Fighting the mood, breaking the rules, all at the moon, yelling my blues. One of his snooze, chase it with booze. I'm out in the noon, she out in the nude, fighting the fumes. It's hotter than June. I'm under the moon, following you. I'm out of my head, I'm out on the road, there's nowhere to go. I gave you my soul, am I right or am I wrong? Trying to get home. Your love, I'm up in the hill. My highs and lows is here, highs and lows is here. Gonna be my tours. I bought the door, bought my wrist some Morris. 12 at the door, flush it down the toilet. The more ripping in the nose, fighting the mood, breaking the rules, all at the moon, yelling my blues. One of his snooze, chase it with booze. I'm out in the noon, she out in the nude, fighting the fumes. It's hotter than June. I'm under the moon, following you. I'm out of my head, I'm out on the road, there's nowhere to go. I gave you my soul, am I right or am I wrong? Trying to get home. Your love, I'm up in the hill. My highs and lows is here, highs and lows is here. Fighting the mood, breaking the rules, all at the moon, yelling my blues. One of his snooze, chase it with booze. I'm out in the noon, she out in the nude, fighting the fumes. It's hotter than June. I'm under the moon, following you. I'm out of my head, I'm out on the road, there's nowhere to go. I gave you my soul, am I right or am I wrong? Trying to get home. Your love, I'm up in the hill. My highs and lows is here, highs and lows is here. Gonna be my tours. I bought the door, bought my wrist some Morris. 12 at the door, flush it down the toilet. The more ripping in the nose, fighting the mood, breaking the rules, all at the moon, yelling my blues. One of his snooze, chase it with booze. I'm out in the noon, she out in the nude, fighting the fumes. It's hotter than June. I'm under the moon, following you. I'm out of my head, I'm out on the road, there's nowhere to go. I gave you my soul, am I right or am I wrong? Trying to get home. Your love, I'm up in the hill. My highs and lows is here, highs and lows is here.
How's it going, everyone? Oh, of course that happens. Beautiful. It's exactly what I want to see. It's just my window just giving me issues. Oh, there we go. That's the button I want. There we go. Cool. All right. Let me pull this up. Pull this over here. Because I realized I didn't save this up beforehand. You know, like a smart person. Because why would I be smart? Who's smart these days? Who does smart things, right? Anyways, so. All right. There is all of that. We go to look at that wonderful screen. That's not what we're on right now, but that's okay. There we go, and then we're gonna go there. Hey, look at that. We got decks now. Cool. All right, and then I did want to do one other thing before I forget. Where? There we go. That's what I wanted to do. Slowly but surely. Hopefully this isn't loud. Slowly but surely this will all load, I swear. There we go. Alright, yeah, it is a little loud, but that's fine. There we go. Perfect. Now we're just not shouting out to the void of nothing. Cool. Alright. So, we got a bunch of decks that are just all sort of on here that people have uploaded to public. Let's take a look at some of them. There's one other thing I want to grab here while I have this in my hands and I'm not forgetting it. I wanted that. I think it's part of this. It is. Cool. Okay. Baller. Alright, so we have some decks that people have been uploading and looking around and trying to do some stuff. Big Top Gaming, they also just did a video of their Auric deck. I'll take a look. Let's see what they're doing. So, Auric running Styrian Pathways, 0 side deck, 30 cards, 12 units, 7 attachments, 11 spells. Okay. Okay. Nice and trimmed. Okay. Okay. I see what they're going for here. Going for more of overall aggressive with having Exemplar there to sort of be the I'm going to be a tank and soak it up. Um, you know, I would say so. Look, so here's my thing with Exemplar. Exemplar is a great card. Exemplar shines when you have Great Shield as an attachment. Having Great Shield as attachment is honestly fine with Auric. It just, you want to build around it. But everything else that he has in this deck right now, everything else you have in this deck, I would say, exudes, I don't want Exemplar. If I was building this deck and I had to swap anything out, I would swap Exemplar out. Exemplar is a good card, but I would probably swap Exemplar out. I would probably put either Bone Claws, Berserkers, somewhere in that degree. Probably do that, because you already have Battle Masters. Battle Masters are going to be great. You have Twin Blades. Twin Blades are going to be great. Armored Revenants. You could also take out these two, throw in another Armored Revenant, and throw in a what's its face, Mucktober. You could also do that. That would also be a good play there. Because right now, everything else that you're really running, you also have the Reinforced Plate, which it's good. It is. I'm not gonna lie. It is good. But everything else here is to be aggressive, right? Because like Adrenaline Rushes are here to be aggressive. Valor's Commands are to be aggressive. Endless Rage, Unstoppable Rush, you're being aggressive. Call to Arms, Rebounding Throw, again, you want equipment, all that kind of stuff. Personally, I understand wanting the range on Farside Ambushers. Personally, I would say cut the Exemplars, cut the Ambushers. Or at least, no, I wouldn't even say cut the Ambushers. I'd say throw them in the sideboard. Ambushers can be good. Ambushers I'd throw in if the opponent is having Mire on the field. If Mire's on the field, throw an Ambusher. If it's not, keep it in the sideboard. Hunter's Bow, no one else that you're running is running range. Having even one Hunter's Bow is just a waste, honestly. It's a waste for 2 cards. Like, you have to have 3 cards out of 30 just to even have that play well. And I'm pretty sure, and I'm going to bring this up over here. I'll do this and just, there you go, content library. At least Auric, just to make sure I'm not crazy. Yeah, it's just within 6 inches. It's not equal to range or anything. So that's not gonna matter. Yeah, I'd cut Hunter's Bow. You don't have a reason to keep Hunter's Bow in here. Cut that out. Farside Ambusher. Again, throw them in the sideboard. They're gonna be great if Ambush is on the field to where you can have forward spawning units. But otherwise, your units are fast enough to be there. Exemplars, I'd cut. Reinforced, I'd cut. In replacing all of this, Farsight being there, Exemplar being gone, throw in an extra Armored Revenant, throw in Muktober. I would even say at that point, throw in 3 Crop of Maulers, throw in 2 Horned Helms. Going over 30 cards as some of the Seekers is not a bad thing. 30 cards in this game sounds perfect. Like, pretty much in any TCG game that you're going to play, Magic, Flesh and Blood, Hearthstone, any game, any CCG, TCG, whatever you want to call it, right? If you could have less cards, you would, because you want to condense what you're drawing. You want it to be your game plan, and you want it to be done quick, easy, you're good. Malediction turns that on its head just a tad. Having an optimized deck is great. Having an optimized deck will let you get what you need, ideally, faster. However, your things that you need is not the same as what you need in other TCGs. What you need in Malediction is more than just spells or your units to combo off and get a whole thing. These things affect the board state. These things affect your unit's board state, and these things affect everything. So with all that, building extra cards is never a bad thing, but it's finding that balance of what is the extra amount of cards I need. So, you have 7 cards for a side deck. Utilize that. Farsight Ambushers, throw it in there. If you really want to fight against Mire, for, whatever reason, let's just say, you have issues with Mire or something, you can then throw in the cloaks from Mire for ambush. Throw that in your sideboard. It's always great to, be able to hit that. Personally, I'd also say Consume Carcass, because that way you can deal with Mortem. Consume Carcass is probably one of the better cards right now as a straight sideboarding card, at least at the moment, because it'll 100% deal with Morta, with her legacy. Card goes in the discard, you play Consume Carcass, that card's gone. For reference, if this will actually type, there we go. Consume Carcass. If a unit entered a discard pile, this activation gains Quicken, which is great. So, Soul Stitcher activates, and once per activation, choose a basic fallen enemy you own and discard a basic fallen unit. Since it hits the discard, you can trigger that, and when you do that, you can of course stop Necromancy. So, you stop Necromancy, you don't got to worry about anything. It's perfect. At least other cards, for the way that this deck is built, Cavern Maulers would be good. Boneclaw Raiders would be good. Muktober would be disgusting. Yeah, that's really the main stuff I'd throw in there at least. Faction wise, let me see. Attachment wise, Scouts boots are always really good. Scouts boots will do lots of work. Horned helmets will just do lots of work just for the +1 damage alone. That alone does a lot of work. Knockback will also net you some stuff, but +1 on damage does a lot of work. Let me see. Let's see. Yeah, that's really the main stuff that I would grab. Otherwise, deck's not bad. I didn't mean to do that. There we go. Yeah, otherwise, yeah, deck's not bad. I would... Yeah, I'd at least update that stuff. If I had to give, like, a rating for said deck, I give it a B. B+, right around there. Like, it's good. It's meant to build around what it's wanting to do. Just... there's a few options. I would make a different choice. You're essentially leaning like 90% into aggressive. Just lean all the way in, you know? Just lean all the way in for it. That's all I would say. Let's see. What else have people done? There's my deck here. Let's go over my own deck. It's 50 cards. Why? Because I'm still figuring out what I want to do with this deck. I give my own deck an F because I'm my biggest critic. But essentially what the whole deck is based around the idea, of course, is keep things together, blow things up. That's really the basis of it all. It's not perfect. I'm still refining it. I'm still making this work. It's crazy. I originally had this at 41 cards. I was happy at 41 cards. And I could make it work at 41 cards. But I'm missing something out of it. So now I've added a bunch of cards to see if I can fix that. At this point, I'm also debating about cutting out Farsight Archer or Ambusher for Soul Whisperer. So that's also a choice I'm trying to make. But my deck. That one's crap. Ingor's interesting. Let's see, what's this one? So we got Thundersteps. Alright, so again, 30 cards. Standard. You're gonna see that. People are gonna do 30 cards. Let's see. So, if you don't know, Thundersteps already. Big hulking beast of a man. This big tyrant. He's a tyrant. Berserk, Cleave, Devastate, 7/3 stat line, 5 to hit. He's swinging and he's going to bed with a high average. Plus Storm's Eye for the legacy, so discard a card, move 3 inches, and you also have Brutal Charge, so +2 damage on charges, and you also gain knockback 5. So lots of crazy stuff. With that said, yeah, Spirit Shaman, normal, Cobra Maulers, normal, Tarok Beast, normal, Primal Totems, normal, just all the good stuff across the board. exactly what you want in Thundersteps. Berserkers, I think, are slightly underrated, personally. Their stat line up front doesn't look that great. Get an attachment on them. It's beautiful. Boneclaw Raiders. They're movement gods. Slip in, slip out, deal a lot of damage. With that, running one seize the initiative. There we go. Interesting choice. Not a bad one. Interesting one. And one heart stab. Interesting. But okay. Cataclysmic, Endless Rage, Unstoppable Rush, all make sense. Great cards. Blow everyone up. Blow everyone up. Yawn in the middle of your talking. 2 AP. And just, refresh. Not dying. Retribution. Deal damage back. Free 1 AP stuff. And also just get off me. Like, yeah, makes sense. All perfect stuff. And then 2 scout boots. Yeah, this is good. Styrian Pathways for even extra movement. Yeah, Consume Carcass, perfect in there. 1 of each in there, perfect. Yeah, allowing for ambush, so you can get more ambush units. If it's Mire. Yeah, makes perfect sense. Yeah, aid to your deck, truly. Like, Primal Totems do a lot of work. It's understandable not running 3 of them. There's not many times you want to run 3 of them, but that's fair. Otherwise, you have your target piece, run across the screen, run across the map, whatever, get all the way across, you're fine. Don't gotta worry about them. They charge. Essentially, they run so everyone else can walk. Copper Maulers are just a beast of a unit. Spirit Shamans do a lot of work. Yeah, this is essentially what you want in red for the most part right here. It's what you want for Primal. Pure Primal. Yeah. Surely. Let's see, what else have we got? Let's just scroll down to a random deck, right? We're just gonna go down further. Alright, cool. Wide spell damage? There we go. Let's see. So, we hide the main deck. 37 cards. Okay, we got our first, off 30. I'm okay with this. Essentially one of every spell. Well, most of every spell. Just about. My god. I'm just yawning a lot right now for no reason. Okay. At least... Okay. Well, let's look at this all right here. So, 2 Shield Mage, 2 Scholars, Gateway Guardian, 2 Weavers, 2 Grubs, 2 Gargoyles, Devourer, 2 Battlecasters. It's not bad. I would at least have 3 Scholars. Scholars are, while weak, their activation provides lots of value. On their activation, you not only have Empower Spell, but you also have Essence Binder. And so with that, like, you know, their hit and everything, you're not going to be. You're going to be casting spells on their turn. Essentially, you're going to hit, maybe get Leostrum Discharge. That's maybe what you're going to try to get the hit for. Otherwise, though, you're going to go for the Empower Spell. Why am I yawning so much all of a sudden? Anyways. But yeah, you're going to get Empower Spell. Things like Twin Flames, Shatter, that's the main thing that you're going to be going for. Being able to deal 3 damage to 2 units. Or, you know, just literally popping 3 damage and destroying an equipped item, which is becoming more and more common. That's going to be really a big thing. There we go, website. For, you know, discharge, 3 damage, even just on that alone. But even if you know, so if you get the hit, great. 5 damage. If you don't, still 3 damage. Which is decent enough. But if you get the hit, it's a total of 8. These yawns are killing me. I don't know why. Anyways. Let's see. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, like, that's the kind of stuff you're gonna do for, or, you know, like, telekinesis someone, whether it's, you know, on their activation or just pulling it from the grave, that type of idea. That's where it's really gonna come in handy. The fact that there's only 2 discharges, put that to 3. Just, yeah, put that to 3. Same with Shatters. You're already over. Just put them to 3. You're not going to lose any value by having those 2 extra cards there. You're going to gain more value because that's just more damage you can deal. If anything, Dimension Breaches are okay. They're a good card for bidding for initiative. They're a good card for value. They're a good card if you can get in a cheap unit. So if you can get in your Grub, if you can get in your Gargoyle, that's where they shine. Even your Scholar is okay, but you're starting to spend a good chunk there. If you know somehow built up a crap ton of Echo, Dimension Breaching and a Devourer is hilarious. Same with a Guardian, but yeah, that's. I would definitely say, at least in this case, add the extra discharge, add the extra shatter, take out the breaches, or at least just put them in the sideboard, honestly. Brewing Fate is okay. Brewing Fate's okay if you're going for more control-y. Duplicate is... I don't care for Duplicate because you're not running 3 of things here. If you're running 3 of things, Duplicate would make more sense. Running 2 of them just means that you have to hope to God they're in your deck. If you're running 3 of things, at least then you have the guarantee that there's probably a 1 in your deck somewhere. But with 2, it could bite you in the butt a little bit. Even with all the units that you have. Yeah. I would say, yeah, add the extra, discharge, add the extra shatter, cut duplicate, or at least, again, sideboard duplicate, sideboard dimension breaches, add an extra stride, Um, that's gonna probably be your big value right there. The other problem with Polynor, and I mean, I see you're grabbing Starcast Halls, which, you know, is good, but the problem with Polynor is he is mana, or, you know, echo intensive. So, your resource will dwindle quickly. And at least, as Polynor, I think my one and only gripe I have with Polynor is you do not have a mid-range unit for Essence Binder. You have a low cost range, and you have a high, but you don't really have a mid. And that mid cost essence would do so much for you. But unfortunately, you don't have it. And that's just where the issue lies. It's yeah, that's pretty much where I land on this whole deck. It's not bad, just, you know, some things I would change personally. I would change that at least. Yeah. Cut duplicate, cut dimension breach, add a third, discharge, stride, and shatter. Yeah. I'd also sideboard Shifting Winds. Shifting Winds is good if you're playing against someone who you know is going to have some range normally. But like if you're playing against, you know, Auric, or Thundersteps, most of their characters are not really going to have range. You know? But if you are playing against, you know, another Polynor, or you're playing against Morda, or, you know, anyone that has decent range and ranged units, it's just going to be better, honestly. It's just going to be better to have Shifting Winds then. Otherwise, you're sort of holding on to a 2-cost card for no reason. Have Shifting Winds in your sideboard. It'll be a lot more useful there, at least in the current state of the game. Give me 1 moment. I will be right back. Alright, there we go. I'm alive. There we go. Oh yeah, I forgot. I want to do that, didn't I? I wanted to do that. Where is it? Hey, no. Bad. Damn it, I didn't want to do that. One second here. Let me get this fixed. I know how things work sometimes, but only sometimes. Not all the time. There it is. That's what I wanted. Phone, please. Phone, please, phone. Phone. Oh, that makes me feel great. Oh, what if I just did this? Cool, that works. Cool. Alright, there we go. That actually works. And then I can do this that I've been meaning to do. I just haven't done. Now I get to actually do this. That, and then this, and then that, and that. Cool. And now that's there. And now I can actually go back to doing the thing I was doing. Do I have that? I do already have that popped out. Perfect. Alright. Cool. I can go back to live. Hi there. Perfect. Alright. Oh yeah, last thing I needed to do over here was where is streamer mode? There it is. Cool. All right, we're active. Now I'm not gonna get blown up by pings from other people. Cool. Yeah. So as we were talking about this deck right before I'd step away, out of everything that I would do in this deck that I see here, cut duplicate, cut dimension breach, Liestrum Stride, add one, Shatter, add one. I meant discharge, but yeah, Stride 2, add one for both of those. Shifting Winds sideboard. I'd also say add another Conclave Scholar. Personally, that's at least what I would do. I'd rather take the extra stuff in this deck. Transposition, I'd say throw it on the sideboard. If Flesh Gardens comes up, then take it. But otherwise, I'd leave it in the sideboard. That way, it'd trim the deck just ever so slightly, if anything. No, I lied. It wouldn't. It would be same amount of cards, but it would at least be better stuff. Better stuff? No, wait. No, trim it by like 2 cards. Yeah, I can do math. Math. Who does math? But yeah, that's overall what I would do. Otherwise, if I had to grade this deck, at least currently with how it is, I'd give it like a B. It's not bad. I see what you're trying to go for here. Few cards cleaned up, and then yeah, you'd be good. It'd be better that way. But yeah, that's at least what I would do. Let's see. What else? We're gonna go get a random deck. Don't even know. We'll find it. There's my other deck. Let's see. Morda, aggro control. Let's see what we got. Excuse me. All right. We have 15 spells, 15 units, and a 7-card sideboard. All right. On Styrian Pathways. Not bad. Not bad at all. Let's see. Cursed Lethargy, Death's Call. Okay. Death's Call. Demanifest, Disembody, Dreadheart, Entrap, Neutralizing, Runefold, Telekinesis, Unmake, and Bliss. Alright. And then yeah, Deadeye, Deaded Arm, Stitch Corpse, Thrice Murdered, Umberland, Soul Whisper, Gateway Guardian. Okay. Alright. I understand what we're going for here. I see what she's trying to, what we're trying to do, right? Out of what we have, transposition. It can work. It's not bad. It's going to be helpful for getting units, into place, or, swapping units in and out of stuff like that. Here's my problem with transposition is that it is a one of, and it's going to be useful when you pull it, and otherwise, it's going to be useful when you need it. Otherwise, it essentially just feels like value that you're throwing for, which in itself isn't horrible, but it's not something that I'm I don't. Yeah. Um. Unless your deck is built around movement and stuff like that, specifically like Polynor with, Flesh Gardens. I say keep it in the sideboard. That's how I feel about it. And you might have heard my wife just laugh there. But Death's Call. Death's Call I would also throw in the sideboard. You feel like it'd be wonderful here, and it is wonderful. However, the reason why I would keep it in the sideboard overall, rather than keeping a card that you would want to keep, or like want to swap it out with normally in here, I say throw this into the sideboard because right now there are 3 and incoming soon 4 factions, or well 4 seekers that can play fallen units. Right now there's Vorindel, Morda, and Ingor, and then the 4th one that is coming, which is going to be Order Legion. 4 seekers right now that can all play fallen units. That's a lot. That's a lot that can be fallen on the board all at once. That's a lot of different decks that you can run into that will have a possibility for fallen units. There's a lot of people that card will just miss on. Throw it into your sideboard unless you're sure. That's why. It is just, I need to confirm who I'm fighting, essentially. Then throw it into your deck. That's how I feel about that. Otherwise, for wanting to be more on the control-y side, not bad. Not bad at all. If you're going to get rid of transposition, if you're going to get rid of transposition, I'd add the 3rd Deadeye Archer. If you're going to replace Death's Call out with anything, I understand why Duskwood's there, but it's... Morta has enough retention rate, essentially, with just being able to summon with Necromancy, that at least having... Sorry, yawning. Really killing me right now. Having a one-of Duskwood Prowler just feels weird. Let's see, if I wanted to have something that's a little bit more control-y. Artillerist is a good option. Yep, our Artillerist I would say is a good option, especially with a lot of stuff that is being ran here. Yeah, Shield Mage would also be a decent option. Shield Mage would also be decent. That way you get a little bit more of the control-y side. You sort of get the benefits of Gateway Guardian for a little bit cheaper. You can also play Flesh Ripper. Flesh Ripper would also be good here. Mainly because, again, Fallen. So then it also triggers off Soul Stitcher. specifically because you can go and actually tutor for an elite, so you can go find Flesh Ripper. Can of course also just do Duskwood. But I do like the idea of at least of Flesh Ripper. But how many units do you have that can hold? Most of your units can hold. Okay. Yeah, I'd say Flesh Ripper or 2 Prowlers. Either one would be good, honestly, for that. That's what I would be. Otherwise, though, good deck. It's a good deck. I like what you got going on here. Horned Helmet is always going to be useful. Memento Weavers are going to be useful, yeah, especially if like Flesh Garden shows up. You can throw on Horned Helmet, Momentum Weaver, and sort of just have movement control. Yeah, I think this is overall pretty good. Let's see. If I had to give this a grade, I'd say about B plus, almost A minus, right around there. There's a lot that's good here. Slight cleanup, honestly, I'd say. Just a very slight one. Yeah, that's about all I'd really say about it. Slight cleanup and you'd be good to go. But yeah, otherwise, that's good. Let's see. Oh, will Spar play a game with me? Spar is not going to play a game with me right now. Damn. See, one thing you'll notice, right? A lot of decks. Well, here, so let's see if we go down to the bottom, right? Ah, yes, Fabio. So, we have 30 cards, 30 cards, 30 cards, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 31, 35, 30, 30, 30, 30, 31, 30, 31, 30, 30, 50, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, More 30, 31, 32, 36, 34, 32. Let's see what else we got. $34, $37, $34, and like as we get higher, people are starting to experiment with just going over 30 cards. And I mean, each deck has its own balance for it too, right? So it's one Auric deck might be more, conservative. Some might be a little bit crazier. But it does benefit to build outside of the meta. It does. And I think people really get hung up on the idea of coming from TCG, coming from Magic and stuff like that, and this is what I'm taught, this is what I know, this is how game is played, and then they come in, they play, and as you start to build and you start to figure things out, you start to realize that 30 cards is going to get me optimal stuff usually, right? It's gonna do me better in a sense. But having a bunch of options and having a bunch of triggers to allow for other things to happen is also very nice. Auric specifically is like, as long as you play equipment, playing can also be off Reforge. You get to draw a card. So you always have card draw, ideally. There's a lot of different crazy things. But it is something to think about, at least. It's not to say that, some decks don't benefit from lower cost. Palinar definitely does. Palinar definitely benefits from having lower deck size because it's always going to be something good you're going to pull. But Ingor and Auric, built right, have a lot of stuff coming to them one way or another. And sometimes it feels like 30 cards is just really limiting on decks like that. But let me see here. Let's see. Let's see. Reaching out to some buddies. Maybe we can get a game in. Or two. see. But yeah, otherwise, a lot of people are making some interesting builds, interesting decks. Like Maledicted. Bruno also released one recently. Let's see, this man's playing Mire with Auric. This man's got ideas. That's all I gotta say about Bruno. Love the man to death. Man's got ideas. Honestly, I think this is good. I think playing Mire, honestly, with Auric is good. But I also like Starcast Halls with Auric. Which I know sounds odd. Being a little bit more aggressive with spells allows for that. No, I forgot. I'm gonna take a look. That's what I thought. Okay. Yeah, it is while being activated. I had a feeling it was while being activated, but I wanted to make sure. Let's see. Oh, if only people would get back to me. Let's see. It might be this reason, but yeah. Otherwise, there's some good decks being built around. I will say, I like more equipment in Auric. My Auric deck is riddled with equipment. More than just 7. Because equipment equals card draw. It's dumb. But definitely this is a good plan. Bruno knows what he's talking about. Bruno's got his stuff down. See, 6 to 8 items does feel best, definitely, on Auric. Don't get me wrong. However, I like to just go against the grain. Thank you, Jack. Thank you for telling me. I like to go against the grain. So, as you can see, I'm running 50 card decks here. I also have a more refined Auric. But, this is my crazy Auric deck. It's insane. It's ridiculous. In multiple ways. With 13 attachments. Now, that seems crazy, right? But the crazy thing about this game is card draw is powerful. That's why Thundersteps was nerfed. Because he had card draw. So, I still am figuring out what I want to throw on the side deck for this. But Starcast Halls. wonderful for this because pretty much everything here, minus Endless Rage and Retribution, I get reduced cost on. Okay, understand, consume for when I am facing Morta, game changer. Ask Spar. Spar hates this card. Whenever he sees me play a red deck, he's like, fuck, I already know Consume is coming. Because having Consume on deck just starts to shut down Morta. And it's ridiculous. And it's all because... Where is it? Wow, look at me go. I can't even... What? Oh, that's because I have Fallen. That's why. Consume. Whenever a card enters the discard pile, right? So it does trigger, of course, off of Soul Stitcher. Once per activation, throw that in there. It's really nice. So she has to essentially give up hand advantage to sort of get around Consume. Because, you know, try to bait that happening and force it all to happen. So she has to give up essentially 2 cards to get 1 card out if she is thinking that Consume Carcass is on the other side. It's a great way to force just... I have to play around this. Definitely try it out. Try it out. You'll be nicely surprised. It's a wonderful thing against him. But yeah, this is completely against the grain. This is being extra aggressive and ridiculous for no reason other than just to be. And just to see what kind of stuff I can do. And I mean, it's worked. I mean, yeah, she is scary, and especially with Umberland Shade. Umberland Shade is a terrifying unit of just, I get to bring this in for free, and I don't have to worry because I have flying and I can go over everything. Like, flying and phasing. That's awesome. No, I'm glad to hear. Like, I'm always happy when people's stuff, of course, is, you know, working. Everything is going well. And, I mean, here I am, like, this is, like, my 5th, 6th iteration of my Ingor deck, because this was at 41 cards. This was okay refined. And then, as I've done more, I'm like, I'm just gonna build this out. I'm gonna test it. You know, brute force it. Because I like Ingor. I do. The one thing that feels bad about Ingor is hitting a unit on your legacy. It's the one thing that feels bad about Ingor. That's it. Otherwise, I love Ingor. But it does feel bad. So, this is a deck that I'm brute forcing and trying dumb stuff with. Otherwise, in all honesty, out of all the Seekers, right, out of everyone here, Ingor probably the hardest to at least build around and feel right. For the most part, I think I've cracked it. However, it's just more of the fine-tuning of numbers and the fine-tuning of making what I want to be and how I want it to be, essentially. So that's where I'm at. Lots of choices, lots of units that feel like it should work, but then you also want to play Spellcastery because you have Essence Binder, you have the Death Whisper, and then on top of that, Chaotic Impulse, to where I get to cast spells. So it's yeah. I think I figured this out, but it's, again, still brute forcing it. Landriel is hilarious and dumb in all the best ways. Spar built a deck with Landriel that is 4 units, one of them being Landriel, and 3 of them being Gargoyles. He beat my Morta that way. Yeah. Landriel is definitely someone that is interesting, at least right now. A lot of people do want to bring her out in the beginning. A lot of people do, which I think she is better for turn 2 or something, unless you have easy access to a good relic, I should say. But Landriel is definitely interesting, loading them up with counters and stuff like that, but there's a lot more to it. Personally, I'm a fan of my Thundersteps and Polynor mainly, and then I've been exploring with Auric and Ingor lately, but yeah, Thundersteps, let me charge you down, let me hurt you, let me hit you really fucking hard. My fun Polynor deck, that is all just, we're gonna deal damage and deal damage and deal damage. Play with control, don't try to combo off. Yeah, basically. And yeah, no one really wants to play, boring blue-white, but yeah, boring blue-white with her is very powerful. Quite literally, my whole thing when I was, selling the game at Adepticon was, all the dual factions are, if you've played Magic, you already know them. Red-white, it's Boros. You know how Boros works? Equipment, that's all it is. Blue-white, everything you hate in life, and it's that card. The Seeker even has spell immunity, and they look at me like, what? Yep. Black-blue, it's literally pulling zombies from the grave. Like, okay. And then, red-black, it's blowing yourself up and blowing up everything else for it. Like, oh. It was like, yeah, it's literally all magic. It's been a lot of funny stuff. But yeah, when I was explaining that to people, they're just like, it's really just that spot on. I'm like, yeah, actually, that's just spot on. But yeah, this whole deck too. I love this deck. I've modified it a little bit from what I had it originally. I didn't have Gargoyles in here originally. I had Devour, and then also what's their faces? Battle Mages, the Battlecasters. There we go, Battlecasters. I had them in there originally. They're good, but they're not what I wanted for this, and I found that out eventually. So I put Gargoyles in there, so I have flying, and I can just fly over my terrain and play that a little bit more. Otherwise, Horned Helm, Bow, Momentum Weaver with bows ideally, Horned Helm on Polynor, beautiful, and also Conclave Artillerists. See, Starcast for him is good. Don't get me wrong. Starcast for him is truly wonderful. However, being able to force a choke point with Flesh Gardens, because no one wants to play on Flesh Gardens, obviously, because it hurts people. So you get to force a choke point, essentially with your terrain, and then by forcing that choke point, you now essentially get to control that, push people away and around like that, and then if you have telekinesis, you just throw them into the blood and laugh, basically. And that's something that I just truly enjoy. And then on top of that, you get to combo off with Discharge and Twin Flames and Shatter. And just like, okay, you have this, Shatter. I got a hit, Discharge. It's dumb stuff. Dumb stuff. And then, of course, if you have Horned Helm, and then you add on top of that Veil Piercer, or if you add Trapjaw Chain, or what's its face? Scepter. You just have 18 range, which is ridiculous. But then you get to just shoot literally half the map. Let's see. What else do I have here? Oh yeah, one of my first iterations of Ingor. Yeah, my Laundriel deck that is more tempo, being an asshole, and sort of more just controlling the field with a few units who... It's like, alright, I'm going to be here. Deal with it, essentially. Something dies, it comes back to me. Your unit, don't like it. Damage, I don't know what it is. Free attacks, I'll take them. Second wind, sure, I'll take a free activation. Heal up sometimes, counters. Yeah, it's, and then just of course movement. This is my answer to Spar. Just a way to think, how do I want to play this, right? And I mean, 7 units, really small. Yeah, priests are great. Priests are wonderful in Laundriel. This was in specific response to Spar, who had only 4 units. And I was just like, I don't like that. I'm going to make a counter to that deck specifically. And that's what this is. This was just a direct counter to his deck of like, all right, if you're going to run that, I'm going to run this. Do I think this deck would get mileage? A little. Not a lot. Let's see. What else? I know I had Arc the Controller. Yeah, this is a idea I was toying with that I didn't get far in. I got some stuff there, but wasn't what I wanted, and I just stopped building this. That's why I have my other orc decks. My actual one that's more on the aggressive side. 10 equipment, 11 spells, 13 units, all just being straight aggressive. And then, Warfront Commander, so I can command just about every unit and be like, hey, do that. But yeah, that's at least some of my stuff I have going on here. Oh yeah, this is the really dumb idea I made from beforehand. The 50 card. Everything is broken. Which one is this? I made a Sigrith deck? I don't even remember making this. Of course. I'll see you then, Zach. Errors found in the deck. No wonder. Let's see. let's do this. Where, oh, where? Uh, that. Let's see if anyone else. Let's see. I am taking a quick look here. Alright, so, at least at the moment, while it seems like everyone is just sort of tied up with what it is, I am going to kill the stream at the moment, and then we'll be back, ideally, when people are around to play. But, and that said, thank you all for watching, and I will see everyone later.